Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more /my butthole. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's dive straight into today's first story. Now today's first story comes from Booming Chop, who asks, am I the arsehole for telling my husband I can't take his wake up routine any longer? And does follow with edits and updates as well. My 26 female husband, 26 male, and I've been married for 3 years. He's a very heavy sleeper and has always set multiple alarms to wake up since he was a teenager. The problem is, he not only sets 4 to 5 separate alarms in the morning, but he also snoozes every single one of them. So they go off every 2 to 5 minutes for 45 minutes. His very last alarm goes off at 7 AM, and at that final alarm, he promptly gets out of bed to go to his office. He works from home. I get needing something to help you gradually wake up. I know there are alarm apps specifically made for this, but multiple loud alarms seems really excessive. I'm a very light sleeper and I wake up at his very first alarm. I don't have to wake up for work for another hour, and by the time I'm able to fall back to sleep, the next alarm sounds. It ruins my morning and I'm getting really frustrated by it. He also has a terrible sleep schedule and stays up crazy late, like 1 to 2 AM, to play games to decompress with friends. Because I see that he is capable of jumping out of bed at the last alarm, I suggested a compromise where he only sets 2 alarms max. And because I wake up, I said I could help him to ensure he gets to work on time. I didn't force it, but just asked him to please try it for my sake. We tried it out and it worked really well. But now he's back to setting and snoozing multiple alarms nearly an hour before he has to wake up, and it's driving me crazy. I'm off to work today and woke up every few minutes for at least 40 minutes first thing in the morning to multiple blaring alarms, and I told him I can't take it anymore. He has a huge problem with me trying to fix or control his sleep schedule and gets very defensive. Am I the arsehole for trying to force a change? Edits. We didn't live together before getting married. I didn't know this was the norm for him. We were both young and naive. Neither of us have ever lived anywhere other than where we were raised. I believed everyone slept the recommended 7 to 8 hours, and so I'm trying to compromise now so we can live harmoniously. I honestly didn't know how to prepare for suddenly living with someone. I'd never even had roommates before. I understand that's not the norm for everyone, or even for most, but that's how it's happened for us. Until recently, we either had jobs where I was up far before he had to be, or we had to get up at the same time. This has only become a really big issue recently. I remember a similar story to this one like a few months back, and the suggestion for many was, just start sleeping in different rooms if that's possible. And a lot of people talking about like normalizing, couples sleeping in different rooms because it's important to have a healthy night's sleep. However, I do think your husband is out of line in this one to set that many alarms. A couple of snoozes I think is absolutely fine and quite normal in some ways, but to set multiple alarms for 45 minutes, I mean every 5 minutes that going off, that would drive me nuts as well. And as I always do, I'm trying to put myself like in husband's shoes in this situation. And, I can see that's annoying for the other person as well. So and the last line really jumped out to me where he said, you're trying to fix or control his sleep schedule, and gets very defensive over that. And I thought, well, that works the opposite way round as well. He's controlling your sleep schedule by waking you up at that time every morning as well. So definitely a not the arsehole from me. And before we go to the update, we're going to cover a couple of the comments. One from Tataz, who says, not the arsehole. At this point, you should just sleep in a different bedroom. It sounds horrible. Me in SC40 says, not the arsehole. Get him a Pavlok. It's a wristband that gives you an electric shock at wake up time. Gets you out of bed every time. No shit. I'm just quickly browsing on their website. I thought, what the hell? Giving yourself electric shock? I mean, I can see how it worked, but it doesn't sound like much fun. It says, elegant design in black, silver, and rose gold. To shock the shit out of you. Doesn't say that bit though. But a lot of comments under that one saying, it absolutely works. No Jellyfish says, not the arsehole. Your quality of sleep shouldn't suffer just because he cannot go to bed earlier and always struggles with waking up. No wonder, considering he gets 5 to 6 hours of sleep a day only. Donna Catsy89 says, not the arsehole. My husband did this too, but his alarms were even earlier. His excuse was that it's a great feeling when you wake up and realize you can go back to sleep. I told him his alarms made me feel like shit in the morning because my sleep was interrupted. He didn't change his ways until the one night when his alarm went off and I yelled bloody murder at him, ruining his precious going back to sleep high. No problem since. Your husband is a dick. Kick him out of the bedroom, or better yet, once he falls into his deep sleep, grab his phone and put it in another room. And not that I'm agreeing with husband in this case, but I've absolutely got that high before where you set an alarm earlier and then you look at it and think, oh yes, I got 2 more hours of sleep. It is such a good feeling, I gotta admit that. Love Me Long Time says, sleep in another room tonight. In a room as far from him as you can find. You don't have to go through this every morning, and he doesn't have to like you sleeping elsewhere. He may not even mind. Plenty of couples sleep separately. You have a good reason to sleep separately. You, OP, you are having your sleep affected. This is not good for you. If he won't help you out, help yourself. Not the arsehole. So now we're going to move on to that update to see what that says. Update. Well, I tried to ask him to do the 2 alarm thing tonight and we can look into alternatives. I was really interested in the Pavlok one, but he didn't like the price. I don't think the lighting alarms would work as he slept until noon before with the sun glaring through the windows with no issue. I was trying to explain how it's affecting me in a really negative way and I want to compromise in a way that works for us. He got very annoyed and kept rolling his eyes and walking away from me. I got upset and kept trying to explain my side and asked him to not treat me that way. He claimed he was irritated that I kept talking when he already said okay multiple times. He then flipped out and brought up the fact that I sleep with a fan and he doesn't like it, even though he's told me he's been used to it for years and sleeps just fine and actually has trouble sleeping without one now. Now he's slamming doors and stomping around the house shouting. We are snowed in for at least the next 2 days, so I took a walk to take some space and read your comments. Guess I may be sleeping in a separate room tonight. Update 2. After taking some space and walking back home, I told him I love him, but his behaviour is completely unacceptable and it won't be tolerated, and that if he can't compromise, one of us will have to stay somewhere else, whether in another room or a different place. After he had some time, he was much more receptive to this and agreed to trying other alternatives. He's also considering a sleep study and test for ADHD, which we recently thought he may struggle with, and this sub encouraged us to think about. I took into account that this was his first day back at a very stressful job after quarantine, which doesn't excuse his behaviour, but combined with sleep deprivation can't be very helpful. We are already in counselling, but I'm planning to bring this situation up to our therapist. Thank you all so much for your responses. The update 2 was quite interesting there, where OP said, this is completely unacceptable and won't be tolerated, and that's when things turned around. And then he's become more receptive to, trying other alternatives. And I think that's a great thing, and especially when he's considering the sleep study and the test for ADHD. I'm not excusing past behavior, but moving forward, it looks like they're moving in a positive way in some aspects, I guess. And they're actually going to take this situation forward to their counseling, which they're already in already, which I think is a good thing. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Real Puksatu, hopefully I pronounced that right, and it does follow with a mini update as well, titled, Am I the Arsehole for walking home because I felt like I was being taken advantage of? My mum, 52, and her boyfriend, 53, have been asking me for some help with household chores a lot more recently. My mum's on medical leave for something dealing with her right arm, and her boyfriend is handicapped. I also live in my own apartment down the road from them. This part is important. Since I'm currently unemployed, I didn't mind helping at first. It was something to fill the time between applications and interviews. My mum even offered to help with my rent if I needed it. Sounds good, so let's see how long it lasts. Hopefully not long, because I've been unemployed since October, and I'm desperately looking for a new job. Them asking for help started mid-December. It hasn't been too long, but things got heated last night. My only exception for helping them was I prefer to be back at my apartment before dark. They can't drive too well, plus wasted gas for barely a mile. And I don't want to walk home after dark because I don't trust my neighbours. At first my mum said this was fair. Last night she changed her mind. You'll leave when I tell you to, is what she said. That started the argument. I told her I'm leaving before dark whether she likes it or not. That's my only exception. It's about 30 minutes before dark when Mum walks up the hallway with a chore list of things that may last a few hours. I tell her I'll do these tomorrow because it's about time for me to leave. She says it'd be time to leave when you are done. She goes back to her desk in her back room while I'm finishing up some dishes. After I'm done, I tell her boyfriend I'm heading home unless he needs anything else. He's actually handicapped, amputee, so I wanted to be nice. He says no, so I put my jacket on and leave. As I'm walking home, my mum calls me. "Where the fuck are you? I had more stuff for you to do." I told her I'm halfway home and it's getting dark. She just hangs up. A minute or two later, she pulls up next to me screaming for me to get in the car. I tell her no because I have things to do at my apartment. She gets out and grabs my arm with her bad hand and yells "ow" before saying she's hurt and just needs my help for a bit longer. I tell her everything on the list is doable tomorrow, but she keeps going on and on about how I'm ungrateful to her for being like this. "I carried you for 9 months and raised you for 23 good years. I don't care if you have stuff to do, or if it's your birthday tomorrow. We need help. Get in the car." I shake her arm off and keep walking to my apartment. She's yelling about how I can stay the night at their place to save a trip, threatening to not help with my rent, etc. I had an interview for a job the next morning, so I wanted to eat and get to bed. She's now left 27 voicemails and texted me 30 times. I get she needs help, but I'm not a butler. If I have stuff that's important for me, I'm doing it. She wasn't like this before getting hurt either. Am I the arsehole? Why or why not? Now let's start off with an absolute not the arsehole, and before I start, little disclaimer, I'm not agreeing with Mum's behaviour or trying to defend her behaviour or anything else, but it just felt like there was something there. She went from asking for help with household chores because, she's on medical leave, was absolutely fine. OP agreed, yeah, I can help you out. And then she was saying Mum even offered to help with rent if she needed it, which sounded great. Then OP went on to say, I just need to be home before dark. Again, absolutely fine stuff, right? But then it suddenly flipped round and Mum behavior changed all of a sudden. One day she was saying, yeah, that's fine, get home before dark kind of thing. The next night, no, you'll leave when I tell you to. And then demanding behaviors. And there's one story that always, whenever stuff like this happens in stories, it always takes me back to a story we read a couple of months back now, I think it was. And it was the wedding one where the mum cut up the wedding dress and it turned out and there was something going on with the mum's brain, and that's what happened in the end. It was to do with that. Again, I'm not saying that's it in this story at all, but it always reminds me of that story when something like this happens. Someone flips so suddenly, and I know people can just flip suddenly like that anyway, but that's just what it always reminds me of. So it always makes me take a step back and question things a bit more, But either way, you're not going to be the arsehole in this situation to me. And before we move on to that update, we have Raspberry Razzle who says, not the arsehole, you gave an inch, she's taking a mile. OK Alk says, not the arsehole, that was a very abrupt turn of events. Has your mother said these things to you before? Has she communicated that she thinks she owns you because she helps with your mortgage? If she is helping with a mortgage, she's essentially paying you for your help. Is she paying you above minimum wage for your time and effort? Good for you for sticking to your guns and enforcing your boundaries. You have no obligation to stay longer than you want or do any of the tasks she expects you to. If this is a pattern of events, I'll suggest you stop helping. She may be injured and in need of help, but she needs to realize that she doesn't make you her slave. She needs to appreciate and show gratitude for the help you are providing. Has something happened that may have caused her to suddenly become so irrational? OP replied to that saying, she's been like this a few times before, but not this level. It was actually worse when I was working. She wanted me to blow off work to help them out. It was only abruptly necessarily because she's never been that assertive. Wolfie Fox says if she's taking medication for her injury, it might be affecting her behavior. Maybe give it a few days and play it by ear. Good luck. That is a good point. My mum had an operation, was given steroids as a take-home med. She started getting paranoid and was sure her home was bugged and everybody in the family was out to get her. When she confronted us, we alerted the doctor. Doctor had us immediately stop the steroids and the paranoia stopped too. She later claimed to have no memory of it. Well, I can tell you, I still have memory of it. Love Me Long Time says your mama had a tantrum and she needs to be put into timeout. Your boundary of wanting to walk home before dark is a perfectly reasonable one. and your offer to do the chores the next day is also perfectly reasonable. Hope you do get a job soon, but you should tell your mama get along without your assistance for a day or two. Maybe when you do help, she will be grateful. Her comment, it'd be time to leave when you are done and you'll leave when I tell you to. No. That is not the way things are done. Good for you for leaving, not the arsehole. Adil says, not the arsehole. How's your relationship with your mum otherwise? Because this seems like she went 0 to 100 really quickly. Has she been controlling before, or is this unusual for her? Because statements like, you'll leave when I tell you to, and it'd be time to leave when you are done, are not just a difference of opinion. They sound like a very concerning frame of mind. If this is unusual, then perhaps a medical condition has taken a toll on her mental health, and she needs to see someone. And one more from Anxious Effort, who says, not the arsehole, your mum sounds majorly abusive. I hate it when parents come out with the line that they carried you for 9 months. I've had this said to me a few times, as if you're continuously in debt to them. Madness. If you appear to have been extremely helpful to them and essentially earned your keep for the interim, she's manipulating you and completely disregarding any effort you are making to improve your life. Don't allow this, as you will continue to be at her beck and call. I really hope the job interviews go well and that you can be financially free from them soon. And now we're going to cover that mini update to see what that says. So update. Thank you guys for calling attention to medication. We found out she was taking a steroid, and usually steroid medicines affect her in strange ways. The voicemails and texts I ignored were my mum crying about realising what she had done. We have a doctor's appointment scheduled for tomorrow about getting that changed. However, I did tell her I'm taking a few days away because I was shook up and missed my interview. I did call the woman who was going to interview me though. Because of the situation and her going through something similar before, I've been rescheduled for Thursday. Everything is going well now. Hopefully. And let's hope things do continue to go well. And I'm glad that people did bring the attention to the medication in the end, and OP saw it and thought, this could be a part of it. And clearly mum realised what she had done afterwards. And I totally get OP wanting to take a few days away afterwards. It must be a pretty scary situation for someone to pull up next to you screaming like, get in the car kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. But I hope they do rebuild their relationship in the end. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Hot Sauce 245, who asks, am I the arsehole for stopping my roommate from being able to adopt a cat? My roommate is vegan and wanted to adopt a cat. She bought pretty much everything she needs and I was fine with it. I have a dog, so why can't she have a cat? Then an order came for cat food. It was a brand called Vegan Pet. She was planning to feed the cat vegan dry food. I told her cats can't eat a vegan diet because they are carnivores and it can lead to health issues. Not to mention a diet of solely dry food for cats can lead to kidney stones and dehydration. My roommate would not budge on this issue and ultimately said if it's made for cats then it's okay for cats. So I ultimately dropped the issue and we get to the shelter. My roommate can't drive, so I was the chauffeur, and as we lived together, we thought it would be good for us to look at the cats together. The shelter lady asked us a bunch of questions, like if we had other pets, what our house was like, if we had a catio or safe outdoor area that the cat can't escape from, etc. And then she gets to nutrition. She asks about what we would be feeding and vet care. My roommate lies and says she'd be feeding Hills instead of Vegan Pet. I was gobsmacked, to be honest. I wait until my roommate is distracted and tell the shelter volunteer that she will be feeding Vegan Pet and not Hills. I think this is what made the shelter turn down my roommate's application for the cat. When I told my roommate the truth, she locked herself in her room. She hasn't spoken to me since. I was told by our mutual friend that I overstepped and should have stayed out of it. I don't know. Am I the arsehole? And we do have an update to this one as well. But we're going to start straight away with Zoc for a Spell, who says, not the arsehole, the cat's health comes first. The fact that your roommate lied about it means that she knew what she was doing was wrong. Mercury Queen 93 says, vegan here, not the arsehole. I have a cat and a dog and they get a diet that mimics their natural one, which is based in science. I, as a human, have the option to decide to only eat plants and not meat. Carnivores don't. If your housemate doesn't want to feed a pet animal products, then she needs to find a herbivore or omnivore pet. And clearly your housemate knows they're in the wrong because they lied when asked. I understand why to some it would look like an overstep, but not providing an adequate diet to a pet is animal abuse. So this is about animal welfare, not you trying to stop your housemate from having a cat. Good luck with it all. Some Gingers Have Soul says, not the arsehole, you did the right thing. I worked at a vet for years and could tell you horror stories of people feeding vegan diets to animals. Evla183 says, not the arsehole, you just saved an innocent life from neglect and health problems. If telling her the truth was such a problem, maybe she shouldn't have lied barefaced to a shelter, dealing with neglected pets. If you're not prepared to tend to all of the animal's needs properly, you are not fit to own that animal. Tell her she can get a hamster. ETA, vegans are usually all about animal welfare. Why should that new cat be any less important than the farmed animals she'll never meet? So now we'll move on to the update to see what it says. So update, it's about 7:30 PM. My roommate finished work at 4, but she didn't come home. This is pretty unusual for her, but I assume she had something to do, maybe shopping. She got a cat. I asked her where it is from. She said she bought it from someone off Gumtree, similar to Craigslist. So we have a ragdoll now, I guess. I'm not sure what that means. ETA, I will feed the cat separately. I feed my dog raw food. His freezer is in a garage which my roommate never uses, so it will be easy to just buy extra meat after formulating a diet plan suitable for cats and feeding the cat at the same time as my dog. ETA will answer just a few questions here. She has active access and minimal vet care. She wants to be holistic and natural, but the cat will receive proper vet care. I won't budge on that ever. I will take her to the vet tomorrow. I will get the vet who is very pro-raw to talk some sense into her. If that doesn't work, I will get my vet to report her. I think the RSPCA will listen to the vet more than me. As a dog groomer, I deal with my local animal control all the time. Please do not have much faith in them. As long as the animal is fed, they don't really care. They would only step in if the cat was dying. There is a pretty large chance the cat will eventually be dumped on me. I am hoping so. Please don't badmouth vegans. There are plenty in this thread who are great pet keepers. My roommate is just a shit. If my roommate moves out, there is just nothing I can do. I try my best to look after the cat when it is in my care, but that is literally all I can do. I don't plan on keeping secrets. My roommate will know I am feeding her cat. Apparently it's bladder stones and UTIs and not kidney stones. I don't know. I'm not a cat. Damn, that's a bit of a worrying update, isn't it? What would your suggestion to OP be in this scenario? OP seems to think that they're out of options and there's nothing else that they can do at this point, apart from just try to convince, roommates about putting the cat on a proper diet. Seems like OP is going to try in the meantime to try and fix that diet somehow, but will they be successful? Well, I guess hopefully we'll find out in the future. But let me know what you guys think of this one in the comments below. Now, a huge thank you for spending 20 to 30 minutes with me today, getting involved in the channel. The love, time and support is absolutely amazing as always. You're absolutely incredible. I can never get over it. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.